Hi, Jim Thomas. I'm an interventional radiologist, but prior to being an interventional radiologist, I was in the Navy before, and when COVID started, I called a former intelligence guy, and when I started talking to him, I said, I think I know the antidote for COVID, and I started giving a story, and he said, wait a second, first just tell me the antidote, just in case you don't make it. And I said, okay. So here, I will first tell you the antidotes. Consider, first off, fear not. Consider viruses as parasites, and the anti-parasitic medications may work against this parasite of the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein disease that is infesting us all. Number one, hydroxychloroquine, an anti-parasitic. With a half-life of 22 days, 1 pill a week or less may be helpful as prophylaxis. Ivermectin, anti-parasitic. Once a month, like your pet dog or cat, to keep them from getting infested with worms may be helpful for all of us. Nitazoxanide, Alinea. This is one of the ones that most people don't know about, and I'll pass it around to show you guys. Nitazoxanide, it's in a green wrapper, a yellow pill. Follow the yellow pill. You haven't learned about that? It's nitazoxanide. In a green wrapper, the Emerald City. Nitazoxanide is safer than placebo. And with nitazoxanide, is FDA approved and is an anti-parasitic that is also recognized as a broad spectrum antiviral. Nicotine, anti-parasitic. It could be addictive, but so is sugar. Melatonin, anti-parasitic. And zinc, an anti-parasitic. The late great Zev Zelenko said, hydroxychloroquine is the gun and zinc are the bullets. So how did we figure out that this is COVID is actually a parasite, or actually acts like a parasite? My squadron, I used to fly with a helicopter squadron, 72 hours anywhere in the world to sweep for mines before we declare war. And one time I was told, you're going to Korea, dengue fever, Lassa fever. How do you treat that, doc? You got 800 people going with you and 8 $35 million helicopters. You need to make sure nothing happens to them. So I had to learn about chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine and how much safer hydroxychloroquine was to chloroquine. When COVID came, it was kind of like Korea came to us. These diseases were coming to us, and we had to figure out what the treatment was. What brought us to that time, in 2017, we learned about drug shortages. Bags of salt water costing $500. Martin Shkreli went to jail for Daraprim, an anti-parasitic Daraprim, pyrimethamine, sold for $17 a pill, but his company took it to $750 a pill. And you may want to take note of Daraprim as an anti-parasitic for toxoplasmosis. In June of 2019, we figured out that the medications that the Department of Defense were buying were made with active ingredients made in China. Penicillin, ciprofloxacin, doxycycline, all active ingredients made in China, and the Department of Defense didn't know it. A person named Rosemary Gibson, who wrote a book called China RX, briefed the Joint Chiefs, and they started their plans on making medications in the United States. To this day, many of these medications are still made in China since 2019, and that's a problem. When COVID came to the United States, it may have started at the Wuhan Military Olympic Games, where athletes got sick. Instead of saying it was COVID, they thought it was malaria and treated for malaria at the Wuhan Military Olympic Games. Parasite. Treated adequately the symptoms of COVID. In November of 2019, Goldman Sachs made a $1.5 billion bet that the entire world economy would collapse by the third week of March 2020. And if it did, they would make $100 billion. And it did. The economy collapsed due to COVID, but they made this bet in November of 2019. How did they know? Our most important issue is how do we prevent from future pandemics? And what is this SARS-CoV-2 spike protein doing in our bodies? The SARS-CoV-2 spike protein seems to cause immunosuppression. So I encourage all the physicians, take notes, check your CD3 counts, CD4 counts, and CD8 counts, and check the zinc levels of your patients. That is very important. CD3, CD4, and CD8 counts, because you will find out that you may be immunosuppressed from infestation by this SARS-CoV-2 spike protein. And then we need to use these antiparasitics for prophylaxis and use these other medications that our other speakers have talked about as prevention of cancer that also block the sugar uptake, because parasites eat sugar. And we need to stop the parasites from taking over our bodies by detoxing very carefully and in a routine manner. We can use natural medications, and we mustn't neglect the natural medications of the black seed oil and honey and other natural medications such as papaya that have antiparasitic properties. Both. Thank you. I had a question about papaya seeds or fruit. The actual seeds are actually antiparasitic as well as the fruit. Very important to use both. What can we do to protect ourselves in the future for the next pandemics? Number one, make sure medications are made in the United States. We have to make sure the supply chains of active ingredients are made in the United States. Protect the physicians who are using these medications and provide protections for use of antiparasitics as antivirals. Number three, make sure the antiparasitics are available not just as acute treatments, pandemic prophylaxis. Throughout the time we're being exposed to the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein and other spike proteins, especially bird flu. Ban the genetically specific parasitic carcinogenic bioweapons being used to sicken the people of the United States. And one thing that HHS may be able to do very carefully is review the secret contracts that govern our pharmaceutical industry. Our intelligence networks may be understanding of what is going on with our biopharmaceutical industry, and they're governed by contracts that have never been requested by HHS OIG, and we need to be able to request those secret contracts. The secret contracts are supposed to be requested by HHS Office of Inspector General as well as the Secretary, and that's Bobby Kennedy, and his predecessors have never requested them, and we hope that he will do that to reveal where the funding mechanisms for these medications. That nitazoxanide costs $1,200 for 6 pills in the United States. However, in other countries, it's $2 for the 6 pills. Daraprim, as we said before, a medication that stops toxoplasmosis, $750 a pill right now, but used to cost $17 a pill. And when we asked Zeke Emanuel, the author of the Affordable Care Act, why we have these high prices of medications, he indicated that senatorial and congressional campaigns are expensive, both at a federal and state level. They cost millions. And the GPOs, the group purchasing organizations, make billions and contribute to their campaigns. And that may be why we have the high cost of medications. And we need to look at the root cause analysis of our healthcare financial system that is resulting in unsustainable high prices of medications. Thanks very much for your attention, and thanks very much to all the other speakers, and thanks so much to Diana. She's worked so hard for this, and we are so appreciative of getting this information to the right people. And there's much more information that we'd like to share. Thank you.